Hello, and welcome to Working Your Way, the podcast dedicated to exploring the journey of authenticity in the workplace and discovering how to navigate it your way. I'm your host, Sandhya Sadakar, and today I'm excited to introduce a new series that is all about the tools that you can use to work your way. And if you know me, you know that I am a huge proponent, fan, advocate for anything that helps us with the process of self-discovery, self-reflection, self-exploration. I believe that it is truly a gift to know ourselves. It's a privilege and an honor, and it's so incredibly useful because when we know ourselves, we can really make these life and career decisions that work best for us. And that's really what Working Your Way is all about. It's about knowing who you are and what you love and what drives you and what you need from others to operate at your best. And knowing ourselves helps us with sharing those things with the people around us and helping the people that we love or the people that we work with understand who we are and what we need. Now, every month, on the first week of the month, I'm going to introduce a new tool that I really love. And these are going to be tools that I have used in my own life, in my own career, that I've dove deeply into. And I'll share what is the tool, where did it come from, or how did I find it? At what point did I really discover it and start to use it? And I'll talk a little bit about how you can use it and what it can tell you about yourself or help you understand about yourself or others. And I'll share a lot of my own personal learning and what I discovered, how I've used it in my work or my career or my personal life or my professional development, sharing some of the big insights that I've gathered. And I'm actually going to be bringing on a co-host for these episodes. So for each of these episodes, I'll bring on someone who also is really in love with the tool. And maybe I met them in a training where we got certified together, or somebody that I've been friends with for a while that we discuss these things in our voice notes back and forth or our coffee catch-ups. And I like the idea of bringing on someone else because for me, one of the things that I know helps me work my way is I have better conversations when I'm talking to someone else versus when I'm just sharing information with you. And so I'm working on loving doing solo episodes more than I have in the past. However, I really do love the conversation and the interesting insight and the things that we might discover in conversation with each other. So I'll bring a different person on for each tool and we're going to talk about them. Now, if you know me, you also know I love a good framework because what these types of tools can do is really help us create language to describe ourselves. We live in our bodies all day, every day. We live our own lives and our own experience. And so sometimes it's hard to see. It's like if you're a fish and you're in an ocean, you don't really know that you're in an ocean or the water that you're swimming in. And so we just get so used to our own ways of being that we kind of forget that they're maybe not the way that everybody else shows up. And so I love a good framework because it can both give us the language to describe ourselves, maybe putting words to things that we've always known about ourselves, or seeing something that we didn't see about ourselves before because it gives us context in addition to that language. I can see how I am when I can compare it to how someone else is. So I can see how I am. I can also see how I'm not. And I can see how others are and how that's different than my way of being. And so I do think these types of tools really help us build a lot of empathy, but it also, that context really just provides a little bit of a frame of reference for us to name those things that we maybe didn't realize are unique to us. And so a couple of things that I think really make a good framework. One is I think it needs to give us something substantial to work with, but not be overly complicated. Like there are tools out there that have 30 different archetypes, and it's like impossible to know. Maybe it helps you with understanding yourself, but it's really hard to know 29 other types. And so it's a tool that you can't necessarily use with other people. So I like tools that give us something substantial but aren't overly complicated. I also really shy away from language that's really confusing or hard to understand, or words that frankly you have to look up what they mean to understand what it's trying to say about you. And I also think that it's important to find tools that can not tell us who we are, but show us things that we maybe haven't seen before, haven't named on our own. And so tools that to me feel inclusive are important. And it means that a tool might have some way that you can interpret it in your own life or understand for yourself how you want to apply it. And so it's not telling you this is how you behave 100% of the time, but rather here's a quality about you. How does it show up for you? You get to really see what it means for you and what you want to take away from that. And I also just think it's important to note that these types of tools, whether it's a personality assessment or a strengths assessment or your astrological natal chart, they give you a starting point. These are not things that define who you are, but rather where are you right now and where do you want to go? So some of these tools are going to be, like I mentioned, kind of more corporate, empirically based leadership development tools that I use with clients and bring in at scale or do, kind of more complicated debriefs around. But some of them are going to be a little more woo-woo, like astrology and human design. So I'm excited to really show you all of those parts of myself because I love both types of tools equally, and bring on someone that can really break down their experience too, in addition to me sharing about mine. So I'm really excited about the series and sharing the tools that I love the most and maybe inspiring some of you to dive into your own journey of self-discovery.